Hello everyone, welcome to Achievers IAS classes. Let's begin our discussion on the current events of 28 July 2018. The first issue in news is regarding the draft Data Protection Bill of 2018, on which the Hindu today has several articles. I'll club all of this and we'll discuss some of the important features of the bill. The expert panel, headed by Justice B.N. Srikrishna, has proposed that critical personal data of Indian citizens be processed in centers located within the country. As per the bill, personal data is any data of a natural person who is directly or indirectly identifiable with regard to any specific characteristic, trait, attribute, or any other feature of identity of such a natural person. The committee has defined personal data in such broad terms but has left it to the government to notify categories of personal data which will be considered critical. For other personal data which are not critical, it suggests that it can be transferred outside the territory of India provided that at least one copy of the data will be stored in India. The Act will apply to all those entities carrying on business in India or other activities such as profiling, data processing, etc., which could cause privacy breach. The draft also provides for penalties for the data processor as well as the compensation to the victim for the violations of the data protection law. In this regard, it has suggested a penalty of either 15 crore rupees or 4% of the total worldwide turnover of any data collection or processing entity for violating the provisions of the bill. Further, it has added that the processing of sensitive personal data should only be on the basis of explicit consent of the data principal. The committee has also clarified that the law will not have any retrospective effect and will come into force in a structured and phased manner. On the critical issue of the right to be forgotten, which refers to the ability of the individuals to limit, delink, delete, or correct the personal information on the internet that is misleading or irrelevant lies with the individual. Therefore, the bill seeks to strike a balance between the freedom of expression and the right to informational privacy, but at the same time, it has recommended that the processing of data for certain interests, such as the security of the state, legal proceedings, research, and journalistic purposes, may be exempt from certain obligations of the proposed data protection law. On the issue of personal data of children, the committee has differentiated between two types of data processing entities. The first, which provided services like YouTube, Hot Wheels, Walt Disney, and the second, which constituted the social media services such as Facebook and Instagram. The committee recommends that the Data Protection Authority will have the power to designate websites or online services that process large volumes of personal data of children as guardian data fiduciaries, thereby placing the onus of properly processing the data of a child on the company itself, which is preferable to the existing regulatory approach, which is based on the sole consent of the parent. This will go a long way in addressing various issues like behavior monitoring, tracking, and targeted advertising, which may not be in the best interest of the child. For the implementation of the above recommendations, the committee has recommended to set up a data protection authority which will be in charge of ensuring that the data processing entities act in accordance with the law. Given the ongoing debate on data privacy and the various issues concerning social media, this was a long awaited legislation and we'll further look into it in the coming days. For now, let's move on to the next issue, which is regarding the All India Survey on Higher Education Report of 2017-18. The survey notes that the total number of teachers in higher education institutions in India, inclusive of all posts, from professor to that of temporary teachers, has come down consistently over the past 3 years. This comes at a time when there is widespread concern over the continuing vacancies in university, for which the reason could be that the professors who are retiring are not being replaced and fresh vacancies at all levels are not being filled up. The Ministry of Human Resource Development has responded to the survey saying that the figures may have gone down because only teachers who provided their Aadhaar numbers were shown as teachers from this year onwards. We'll further look into this issue based on the future developments. For now, let's move on to the next issue, which is an editorial regarding the all-time highs reached by the Nifty and Sensex of the Indian stock market. The editorial as such has many technical details which is not essential from the examination perspective, but a few points like the increased interest of foreign institutional investors has resulted in such a boom, which shows that the Indian market has performed better than other emerging markets. The recent record is majorly attributed to certain heavyweight blue chip companies, and several stocks in the smaller categories have not performed up to the mark. On that note, let's move on to the next issue, which is regarding the BRICS Summit. India and China held talks on the sidelines of the BRICS Summit with the main focus on maintaining peace and tranquility in the border areas. The discussion also included possibilities of urea export among other items from India to China. The two leaders also discussed the possibility of setting up a high-level people-to-people mechanism for greater interaction between the two countries. In the very same summit, there was confusion over the National Prosecuting Authority of South Africa, which said that it was investigating the charges pressed by the Muslim Lawyers Association over the human rights violations in Kashmir. However, the South African government confirmed that the National Prosecuting Authority was not empowered to press charges on the Indian Prime Minister who was protected by the Geneva Convention. As you are aware, Geneva Convention offers immunity to government and diplomatic personnel. On that note, I'm wrapping up today's news analysis. Do like, share and comment to support this initiative. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.